Freaking out there. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men with power want? More power.
My name is luca-Zanna. I was an Italian by birth, and I became an American by choice. Our lives and freedoms are in danger. This is not a drill. If you're listening to this broadcasting, you are the resistance.
All systems go.
Welcome to Love, Guns, and Freedom. Hello everybody, this is luca-Zanna. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom on KTOX 1340 AM and also 104.1 FM. Another Sunday, another show. As I said many times, almost 5 years right now, I can't believe it. The reason why I am on the air, or at least I'm here, also on the internet, is because I want to bring you information and news that normally you will not find on the regular mainstream media. I'm very still shocked that KTOX, this commercial broadcasting, the commercial radio station, allows me to bring such type of information. I don't know any other commercial station we can talk about the topics that we talk here. And I tell you, the reason is very simple. I don't know. This is the only reason why I'm still here. And I want to thank always the ownership, the former ownership, and of course the new ownership that is now not new more anymore. It's been for a few years. So I'm always very humbled and very thankful because what you hear here on this show, it is not what you're supposed to hear. And I'm not saying that everything may be right. Be clear. I'm here. I'm trying to do my best to bring facts and information that I believe are true. All I tell you though is something. I always have the opportunity to say what I think is right. And more important, you are here with me as my callers, my guests. You have the right to exercise your freedom of speech. We have very controversial topics. We can talk here from 9/11 to conspiracy, whatever you may think. And by the way, we always back up. Whenever I bring you some conspiracy fact, it's a fact. It is not just about conspiracy. Yes, you're allowed to say pretty much whatever you want, but we always try to back up things by facts. Now, one thing that I've really been so vocal about the last at least 8 years is about this phenomenon called geoengineering, weather modification. You want to call it chemtrails, that's fine. This is something that I am still in shock how is happening in plain view. Not just in Mojave County, Arizona, or in the tri-state area here, but all over the U.S. and also, unfortunately, all over the world, or almost all over the world. We can say many different, why they're doing it. We still probably don't know for sure. They think, now they're coming out public, the former, let's say, CIA director, Mr. Brennan, on video at the Council of Foreign Relations. You can watch the video, you can Google it. Bottom line is admitting it. They're using weather modification to save the planet from global warming, whatever. The point is still look at the sky. You don't even need to look at the patents, at the documents, all the different information directly from government website. Like I said, you have from federal government website to state of Arizona website for permits for weather modification. But you have to just look at the sky and look if it's that normal. You see some days the sky is completely clear, and then out of the blue you see hell unleashed on planet, or if you believe a planet, whatever it is. The point is, the sky is white. And people may say whatever you want, but that stuff, that white stuff, that completely, by the way, covers the sun. This is a fact. The sun and the sky belongs to everybody. They have no right to do that to us. Okay? But also think about it. You are breathing, we are breathing, whatever they are pouring down. And now we've been finding out with facts and information and documents from blood tests, also from analysis of water and the air, that one of the elements, that there are many elements that they're spraying out there in these different compounds, are not exactly what you call healthy. Aluminum, salts of barium, these things are really seriously can compromise your health. We should have the right to know what they're doing to us, and also we should have the right to decide if we want that. Now, I always try to bring you on this show also people who are actively try to expose these type of facts. And that's the idea. And as I said, we had the last Sunday a guy from Canada. He's a young man that really has been active in trying to bring awareness about the 9/11. I don't want to call it conspiracy. Facts. The lies that we've been told. And right now, today, I have another guest. By the way, he's a lady who's also helped me out a few years ago in writing a little e-book, How to Defeat the New World Order. That, by the way, you can download for free at www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Okay. Now, her name is Barbara Craig. She is right now in Toronto, Canada, and she's been around Europe before she came back to Canada, and she's been very active, of course, in this type of information. Okay. Let me bring her on. Barbara, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Good morning, Barbara. This show is going to be recorded. It's recorded. It's going to be played on Sunday, but right now it's 5 o'clock in the morning of Saturday morning. Anyway, just for the record, for people who say, why your voices sound so weird? That's why, 5 o'clock in the morning. Barbara, how's it going there? Well, tell me some news. Why are you back to Canada? Why?
I came back to Canada to investigate new opportunities. And, but I will also be spending part of the year in Italy. As you know, I really love living in Italy, and I'm originally from Canada. I woke up to geoengineering around 2011, 2012. When I was living in Italy, I had some friends that were talking about it, and I thought they must be crazy. So, but because I respected them as my friends, I started to look into it, to observe the sky, to do research online and asking questions to people that had been studying it for longer. And I found, unfortunately, that what my friend said was true. And ever since then, I've been trying to raise awareness about it and various other environmental and health issues that are not by accident, shall we say, happening right now, pretty much all over the world. As you said in your introduction.
Question, it's almost, I found so fascinating, I'm being almost sarcastic, that places like Italy, you think, okay, you go to Italy, you've been left alone, at least on some issues, you think you're going to have a little bit of a blue sky. At least when I left Italy, the sky was blue. Okay?
Yes.
And now you see this, I remember my mother, okay, came from Italy, Rome, several times, came here to the U.S., and when I introduced her to this phenomenon, of weather modification, these chemtrails, whatever you want to call them, by the way, she got sick. She started to get really sick. It was a summertime a few years ago, and they pounding us non-stop, and she started to have all the symptoms of some sort of intoxication. Now, she came back to Italy. In that time, was about 5 or 6 years ago, and she started to notice the same phenomenon. Then they increased. The last few years, they started to really increase. Now, I watch some videos in just outside Rome, also other parts of Italy, and it's exactly the same what they're doing here. This is amazing. And my question is, the Italian people is still the same type of denial? At least the majority of people, they're still in the same denial like we having here. They cannot even face it. Question.
Okay, so in Italy, it's pretty much the same situation in terms of the level of pollution or deliberate contamination of the air, soil, water, and everything that's alive. And here, of course, in the city, there already is more pollution anyway. When I was living in Italy, I was living by the sea. So I was living in a nice, sort of in the country, and in the city you have more EMF, and more chemicals, more air pollution. So it's all pretty bad, let's say, in the city right now, when you put it all together, in terms of how it's going to affect our health.
But my question is, the average Italian out there is the same type of struggle like we have here? That almost, it's like, I think whatever they're doing, they know human psychology. They know that the first thing the average human will deny a government will never do that, will never compromise my health. I mean, is it the same? Are they the same type of zombie mentality like we're having here to face?
I think that there's a less awareness. It's slowly improving. I had friends years ago that didn't believe me, and now they all of a sudden recognize that they exist. And not thanks to me, I don't know how they became aware of it. And also the same thing regarding Wi-Fi. I try to raise awareness about the dangers of electromagnetic radiation, and most people don't know about it or want to know about it.
Let's talk briefly about that, because, we were focusing on chemtrails, but, this is all part of the same type of plan. I really believe we are under attack. Tell us a little bit about what is this EMF, what exactly consists of, where is generated, I mean, and also how can it be so dangerous, why?
Okay, so we have all kinds of EMF. We have the EMF from our wireless devices, the frequency that we're currently using for wireless devices like cell phones and Wi-Fi is a microwave, which if you use a microwave to cook your food, you know that it kills all the nutritional value in your food.
I would never use that for my dog, by the way. My dog doesn't deserve a microwave atomic bomb. I mean, it's just so sick. By the way, the flavor also sucks. But that's just my...
Yes, I know. It changes the flavor.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd rather eat uncooked food than use a microwave.
Yeah.
Then the other issue is what they're using to manipulate the chemtrails in the sky. They use another frequency, which I believe is called ELF. Although I'm not, it's the frequencies that they use in the sky with these I don't know what you call them, machines, HARP, NextRad. Some people think that they're also using cell phone towers to manipulate the weather and also to manipulate our brain. There's those, and then now they're trying to bring in a new frequency to use for our wireless devices, which is called 5G, which apparently is even worse than what we're using now. Mm-hmm. And the 5G, I've heard, I don't know, that trees get in the way of 5G, so in some places they started to cut down the trees. And in England, and
also, let's talk about this, because, first of all, every time we bring this awareness of, they are backed by facts, okay? I mean, for example, we've been talking about the dangers of the elements, of the different type of chemical elements, and they're also, by the way, biological elements they spray in these chemtrails or geoengineering. Is something backed by facts. I mean, and people say, oh, the government will never do that. Guess what? Look at the history of governments, not just the American government, let's say, testing on civilian population without their consent. I mean, all you have to do, look at the history. There are documents declassified. I mean, you want to talk about Agent Orange. I mean, what they done to also our troops in Vietnam. I mean, people, they're still dying. And, of course, in San Francisco Bay, at the New York bus substation, I mean, all the nuclear fallout of these experiments without our consent. Just in Mojave County, Arizona, people will say, oh, I don't believe that. Guess what? Google the word Mojave downwinders. People in the 50s and the 60s, they were taking so much radiation because they were living downwind from the experiment sites. And guess what? They're all dead now. This is a fact. I don't want to wait 30 years to say you got a cancer, or because I could not have the courage to speak up when I had a chance. Because you know what they do? They try always to attack you. First of all, make you look like a crazy person, make fun of you. Like I know very well in Italy, the propaganda machine backed by the state is very oppressive. By the way, even more, because here we still have freedom of speech. In Italy, they can then put you in front of a judge just because you offend somebody or you say something that may be in their mind not accurate, or they say that is not accurate, because after all, who says the truth? Just the official doctors or just the official scientists. I mean, Rosario Marciano, one of the biggest activists in Italy, is still facing. I had him on my show, I think, you introduced me to him. This man has been facing legal challenges just to defend himself from the Italian legal system. I mean, it is very difficult, sometimes to speak up the truth, but these are real facts. So, bottom line is, whatever we say, all people have to do is just find out. I mean, salts of barium. I don't think anybody should be able to say, "Oh, let's breathe aluminum. It's good for your brain." Or let's have a little bit of breakfast. Let's put some barium in your cereals. I mean, this stuff is being pounding in our lungs for years now. Do you feel any side effect when there is this sort of activity in the sky, just with the weather modification? And then we'll talk also about EMF.
You're asking me, do I feel?
Yeah, I mean, because I feel them, honestly. When they start to pound just even after one day, if I'm outdoors, I need to get inside. I start to get all the symptoms of some sort of intoxication. Do you feel anything?
Yes, in fact, that is part of the reason why I'm active. I think that if I didn't feel it or the effects in my body, I probably wouldn't take notice of it as much. So I have, in the past, I've had immune system problems, and I had was diagnosed with multiple chemical sensitivity, which means that I can react to things that most people don't react to, and so when they're on a heavy spray day, I normally have to, take it easy, because I have to slow down because it makes me tired.
Yeah, makes me tired. You're right.
Exactly. It makes you tired. And, then, I have, they're also spraying, nanobiology and nanotechnology, which so far, I've been lucky I haven't been affected by, but I'd like to talk about, that briefly, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I was we're having a fair in Toronto now called Living Green, where it's an opportunity for people to promote their business, basically. And a friend of mine had a stand there called Bye Bye Blue Sky. She's got a website of the same name, Bye Bye Blue Sky. And at the booth there was a guy called Tony P, who sells devices and supplements to help you to protect yourself from. Primarily, he has some devices to protect you from EMF, but he has some microscopes, and I put my hand under the microscope, and various other people did. And under the microscope, you can see what people call Morgellons fibers. He considers that to be a misnomer, and also some shiny little dots that look like nano dots. They're microscopic in size that you wouldn't be able to see them with your naked eye. And this, they call it nanobiology, where they're using this biology or synthetic biology to alter the human race and alter the biology on the planet, which is, even worse than weather manipulation. Mm-hmm. Because, however we got here, whether we were created by a divine power or whether it's an evolutionary process, the planet is a gift. I don't know if there are many planets in the universe that sustain such a variety of life that's living on the planet. In terms of plant life and the amount of water we have and the richness in the animal kingdom. I don't know whether that exists. Whether we're very special. We're very fortunate. So to destroy it deliberately is really a crime. Anyway, the point of this technology is the manipulation and the destruction of humanity. So basically the theory is that they're trying to absorb us into AI so that we're no longer human. And humanity, we have a soul. So we're not just a body. And if artificial intelligence has no ethic, it has no soul, it doesn't have a spirituality. So that way it could be more easily manipulated, and it just takes orders. And perhaps that's what they want. Those of us who are not, according to Tony P, he's got a website which I don't have on me right now, but I can send you the link later if you like. He thinks that those that are not absorbed into the artificial intelligence, quote, agenda will die. And, right now we have quite a long longevity. Now we're living to be 80 years old. It's probably the most that we are aware of in our history, because, people died, when they were 30, or in women in childbirth in the past. So, they didn't get to live to be 80 years old in the past. And so now, according to Tony P., we're going to have a, reduced lifespan because of all this deliberate, destruction.
Well, let's put it this way. Whatever it's happening here, even if they had the best intention, by the way, there's no justification because we should be informed. If they want to save the planet, guess what? We're dying meanwhile. The fact is, even before we go into nanotechnology, that many people say, what are you talking about? They cannot even face the truth that when you see, 100 airplanes crossing each other like in an hour in front of your eyes, do you imagine how they can figure it out or even admit that there is a nanotechnology? By the way, it's real. We know that. But let's put it just the basic things. Silver iodide, that, by the way, is one of the other components used in this weather modification, that, by the way, according to CDC, it's like a cancerogenic element. You should not breathe that stuff. It's used in tons, millions of tons, to somehow manipulate the weather. And that's just that. Think about it. What type of influence, or let's say a negative influence, can create in our environment, but also in our bodies. I mean, this is pollution, deliberated pollution in the sky. And then you know what is funny? You go to Italy, or you go in some big cities in Europe, I think even in Canada, even here in Arizona, you go to Phoenix, and the state demands that you have your gas, for your car emission test every year. Oh, they're so worried about, they need to charge you $50 or whatever to be sure that your car is in compliance with whatever environmental, and I'm all for that. I don't want to have pollution. But at the same time, the hypocrisy out there, they're concerned about your little car when you have a monster in the sky, an elephant in the sky, millions of planes every year crossing each other. Just by the way, before even we go into these, elements that they spray, just the fact that every time a jet goes in the air and turn the engines on, that's, by the way, this is a very heavy destruction for the environment, talking about ozone. Okay, so the fact is pollution, that people can call it whatever they want. It's out there, and this is not regular pollution. This is, in my opinion, mass deliberated pollution. And if I didn't really know better, and I have the elements, I know people think sometimes, oh, you're too extreme, you're crazy. I don't believe so. I really believe they put it out in records, in books, out of their voices, in videos. This global elite, these people that they think they can play gods among us, they decided that humanity must be reduced. Do we have a population, overpopulation? I'm sure we do. But that's not the way I think we should address it. No humans should be above others and decide who lives, who dies. That's the problem, okay? So they really try, in my opinion. And by the way, all you people have to read the Ecoscience, this book by John P. Aldrin in the 70s. By the way, this guy used to be the czar of science under Obama. Bottom line, they admitted it. They need to reduce the population. And now they go really hardcore. They want to reduce it by 90%. So we supposed to be left about 10% of what we have. So this is really scary stuff, but it's happening. Lisa, I know you're doing a sort of activist protest in Canada. When it's happening, and go ahead.
Okay, so there is an organization called the Global March Against Geo-Engineering, which has been around for several years. Originally, I think it started in BC, but I'm not 100% sure. And they have a march every 2 years. And I participated in a couple of occasions. Not everybody participates. They had a very good website in the past where they showed the different countries and the different events that were happening. But this year, I don't see anything on their website. I haven't been able to contact the man who's in charge of the website, so I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know whether other people are doing the march. I know in England they moved away from this organization and they just did their demonstrations independently. Anyway, the march is on Saturday, April 21st in Toronto, and we're starting in Nathan Phillips Square, which is near the town hall of the city of Toronto, and we're ending in Queen's Park, which is where there's some provincial government offices. And so far we don't know how many people are coming. We were recruiting people yesterday. I was surprised at the Green Fair yesterday how many people were actually aware about chemtrails, and some people are interested in coming, which is really great. Because in the past, it's really hard to get people to get the information out because the media won't cover it. We're grassroots. We have to pay for everything ourselves. People don't, very often they don't make donations, to support you, and we're doing all this stuff by ourselves. So I'm not paying for advertising. I'm just doing free advertising. And there are people there that said that they would come, and other people that said they were busy or whatever, but still there are people that knew about it and were happy to hear about it, and they took the information. It's really, it's such a shame really, because we're talking about, eating good, healthy food, having a healthy diet, and, having a healthy lifestyle, but really it's completely meaningless because we're getting sprayed and harped basically on a daily basis. So whatever we do to have a healthy life and maintain our health really doesn't really matter. I mean, it doesn't make a difference because I eat healthy. I exercise.
No, you know what I think. Unfortunately, part is true. You try to buy organic food, all these things, and then open your windows, you walk in the street, and you've been pounded with chemicals. But there is a way that you can still try to, it's like, one thing you can control, it's your microcosm, okay? Yeah, exactly. We cannot stop, unfortunately. I think we should be able to stop if enough people would be out there and really addressing our elected politicians that they could stop this overnight. I mean, if the same type of effort people can put out in a Sunday afternoon, driving for hours and filling up a stadium of 50,000 seats, they could do that effort in a day, going in front of the congressman office. That would be stopped immediately. The problem is that these politicians, they have been silenced. They are afraid to speak up. Some of them, they are completely, I believe, they completely want to ignore this conversation because they've been told something that probably we don't even know. But they have their duty to represent us, and it's up to us if they are failing to representing us. I know, for example, I brought here several politicians. One of them was, our Arizona state representative, former, and now it's, of course, is a state senator, Sonny Borrelli. I had him on my show with the, late, great lady, Rosalind Peterson, that she was one of the most, unfortunately she passed away last year, I guess, activist. She spoke in front of the United Nations about the dangers of geoengineering. And
really?
Oh yeah, remember Rosalind Peterson? I don't know, but I had her on my show with at the time was Arizona State Representative Sonny Borrelli a few years ago when I started my show. And Sonny Borrelli was, I'm interested, I want to listen, and then bang, don't you ever mention this with him. Completely ignoring you and doesn't want to talk about it. They know very well how to manipulate these politicians. I mean, if any politician brings this topic, the first thing they will do, they will unleash this media campaign of denigration and try to make fun of them. And then if they continue, they will do more. And unfortunately, the average people out there say they want to follow with that type of idea that, you must be a conspiracy theorist. No, this is real. I'm sure there were conspiracy theorists 50 years ago in Mohave County, the downwinders, the people that had little bit courage to speak up. So that's a fact. Yeah. And that's why I don't care. People can call me. I know Senator McCain used my show when I had, at the time, Arizona State Senator Kelly Ward, to talk about different topics, among those chemtrails, and they used my show to make fun of her. And by the way, she completely backtracked. She completely dissociated from me. That's fine. You know what, Mrs. Ward, you have to live for eternity for what you stand for or what you stood for. I have no shame. I know what I'm standing for. People may make fun of me or not. I don't care. I know what is true. I know geoengineering is real. All you have to go on government website. I have a website, lovegunsfreedom.com. There is a page I created with all links from government sources, from different researchers, from everything, patents. Besides, we don't even need that. All you have to look at the sky. Listen, I want to give you the floor. I have to go with other topics. Please, I want you to close. Whatever you have to say, you have a minute. Go ahead.
I have 1 minute. Oh, okay. So to close, I just like to mention the Canadian people and what we're doing, what's happening, and some good websites for you to look at if you're interested in researching the information. My name is Barbara Craig. My website is barbaracraig.org, and my page on Facebook for the march is OpGoTO, Global March Against Chemtrails and Geoengineering. There's a woman called Suzanne Meyer who has the website Bye Bye Blue Sky, and she's putting billboards all across North America. And she's doing a fundraising campaign for that, because obviously you have to pay for websites. And if you're interested in finding out what you can do to help yourself, your health, or what you can do to get the word out, just share the information and try to contact your local representative. If enough of us would do that, maybe the government officials wouldn't be continuing to deny that this actually exists. They're really important that more people get active and try to do something to try and stop.
Yes. Thank you, Barbara, for everything you do, for your activism. I appreciate it. And please stay in touch. Let me know what's going on. Also, I'd like to know the feedback, if there is any type of, sometime, I don't want to call it persecution, but I know that many governments, like the Italian governments, where First Amendment doesn't really exist. And in Canada, things are changing there too. After all, you're still under the Queen. You don't have exactly Bill of Rights like we do. I know sometimes they try to play hard on you guys. So give me post. I'm curious to see if there is any type of attention from the government after your little peaceful protest, okay?
Thank you, Gianluca.
Thank you very much. Okay, that was Barbara Craig.
Yeah,
I'll talk to you this week, okay? Let me just now continue the show. Thank you very much, Barbara. All right, that was Barbara from Canada. As I said, this show is about us. It's about you, okay? Most important thing, I would like to have regular people trying to do extraordinary things. And the first thing that I consider extraordinary is getting out of there. Don't be passive anymore. Don't be just a receptor. Don't just be a listener, but just be somebody who is trying to do something. Okay? And one thing you can do, once you learn the truth, share it. That's the only way we can fix this. People say, what can I do? I'm just a person. Doesn't matter. You have this life. You've been given a day, a month, or one complete life. I don't know. But every time you have this opportunity, once you're here, use this time to do something, to awake humanity. It could be your neighbor, could be your family member, could be you don't need to have a radio show, you don't need to be on the air. You could be just in your family. Say, let's learn this. This is important. I mean, this can compromise our health and the future generations' health. So please, do that. Now, a little break. We continue the show. We have more information. Another guest coming. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. By the way, I want to remind you, this type of information, it is not exactly what you call commercial ads friendly. I invite you, please, to support the stations, KTOX, please, and any other station that broadcasts this show. This is really vital. If you want to keep this information going, support the sponsors. And also, of course, this broadcast is an independent broadcast that I produce. I take my time, a lot of my time. Even now, of course, I try to reduce a little bit the hours of the show because I cannot take it anymore. I so many things I'm doing. So please appreciate what we're doing here, what I'm trying to do, and support also the broadcast itself. You can go to www.zanna.us. You see what I do for a living? I don't collect any paycheck from anybody. You are my main customers. You, the listeners. That's it. I don't get sponsorship or grants from government or anything. I'm here. I always sell you something that hopefully you enjoy, you need. and that's why it's called free market. So you can download any of my songs for just 99 cents, and wherever you are in the world, say, look, I'm broke, I don't have money, I live here, I don't know, you can ship stuff to Africa, whatever. If you have a computer, if you have internet, if you have a credit card, 99 cents, I'm sure you can afford it. I appreciate it. You can go also on Amazon.com, download any of my songs, just plug my name, and also you look at my books. I got books on Amazon. One of those is Perfectly Crazy, 69 Erotic Poems and Love Visions by luca-zanna. Okay? The simple as that. And then, of course, if you are in the U.S. especially, you can enjoy my coffee, www.zannacoffee.com, or maybe attend one of my classes. I do CCW classes, handgun classes, self-defense classes, and then different things. All right? That's it. So a little break, and ready for the second part of the show. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna. Do not go away.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman.
I'm not afraid.
And a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid.
Italian by birth.
I'm not afraid.
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Gianluca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
Here we go. This is the second part. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on KTOX 1340 AM and also 104.1 FM. I have a special guest. He's been on my show several times. But more important, before even I had a radio show, I really consider this guest a brother in freedom, even with different accent. My not exactly British accent, but I consider Robert Crooks, also called Little Dog, a man that I met many, many years ago when I was not even, I guess, a citizen. I was just become naturalized. And I always was fascinated by his really commitment. Unpaid commitment, because he spent many, many years on the borders, tried to point it out that we had no borders, we had no walls. When people think, sometimes I'm kind of a strange animal. I'm very libertarian when it comes down to individual rights, even moral. I don't believe government should vote on morality, but when it comes down to borders, I'm very strong an advocate, because I believe if you want to keep and protect your sovereignty, if you want to defend also our republic, and you don't want to be invaded, and voted out, because unfortunately now they think we are a democracy. So that's the strategy. The globalists, they try to infiltrate and completely destroy our borders so they can get a third world countries, zombies, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to put people down, but that's the truth. Many parts of the world, you come from a place that you have no rights, and I'm talking myself. I was from Italy, I understand that. I'm not trying to say I was superior, but I understood when I came to America, I didn't want to bring Italy with me. I wanted to become an American. That's the bottom line. And unfortunately, we have now hordes, millions of people that they try to completely use as a cadres, like an army, literally, to come here without assimilation, without understanding that this is not a democracy, this is a republic, we're supposed to have individual rights, and more important, you have no freaking right when you are not born here. It's still something that you need to earn, and there is a path. That's the point. Yeah, I sound a little bit like a nativist, like, of course, there was the freaking, the Southern Poverty Law overrode me, but I was even born here. I believe that every nation is supposed to have the right to self-determine themselves, and more important, defend the sovereignty. And how do you defend your sovereignty? You start with the borders. Guess what? People that don't like borders, I want to ask them if they have a door and walls around their homes. Let's start with that, okay? So Robert Crooks is my friend, brother in freedom, and we really share the same opinion when it comes down to, it's not even an opinion, it's a fact. Let me shut up, let me bring Robert. Robert, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Do I sound too extreme when it comes down to borders and sovereignty? What do you think?
Not at all, partner. I've been talking this with you for a decade.
Yes. Anyway, listen, I know that also you are a Republican now politician, you try to really get into the machine to try to be elected, and also you've been a great supporter of President Trump. I would like to ask you a couple of things. When President Trump does something right, I'm the first one to give him a chance and to also embrace him. But when does things that freaks me out, I'm the first one to also point it out. And now we're talking about two different issues. Number one, you heard about the situation with the Second Amendment, and more important, the idea that there is no due process. We take the guns first, and then you got your day in front of a judge or a jury or your peers. That's coming out directly from the mouth of President Trump. What do you think about his stance about all that? And also, what do you think about the fact that now we have a president that who is pretty much repeating what Obama has been doing, using executive powers that do not belong to any type of legislative action to write a policy, executive order, to ban an item, in this case, like the bump fire stock, that only Congress eventually should have the opportunity to legislate. What do you think about this, about Trump, President Trump?
Well, I think at this point he's kind of playing it to an appeasement thing. I read his tweet here just not too long ago. It says, "Do not worry about the Second Amendment." I believe that. I believe that Donald Trump is a stone cold American. He's going to do anything and everything he can in his power to protect this nation and the citizens in it. That's what this is all about, sending the National Guard to the border, eliminating catch and release.
Well, I'm with you. At least with the borders now, the latest events that he said that wanted the National Guard, I'm with you completely, and I think it's great. Finally, something that is in his own powers. He doesn't need any approval from Congress. That's what executive power as a commander-in-chief can do, rather than protecting the borders of Iraq or Afghanistan. Send them here. That's I believe completely on that. I'm still shocked, honestly, about all this Second Amendment really. It's not even about Second Amendment. We're talking about Constitution and due process, and also, of course, a separation of powers. That's executive order.
Honestly, Luca, I've known you for a long time. I wouldn't get too excited about that.
We'll
I think he's a good appeasement program to, kind of make the other side smile or happy or give them throw them the dog a bone. Like a strong dog a bone.
All right.
I think I look at a hardcore American who, and I believe it with all my heart that he has nothing but America and in the front of his mind. I mean, the guy took a job that, without pay. He's a billionaire.
No, listen, that's fine. Listen, you can get a job without pay, and that's great. It's a great position. The man is worth billions of dollars. We understand that. My still point is one. Right now, we will see in the next couple of weeks, because the fact that, as I said, maybe a minor thing in the complete, ocean of things that we are facing. I understand that. You're a fisherman, you like oceans. But my point is, when it comes down to a precedent that now, let's say if this executive order, that is already, by the way, now under the ATF and the DOJ reviews, they try to implement it, goes through.
Right.
And they can remove that useless, because the bumper fire stock, they are useless. They are just a piece of junk. I own a few.
Yeah. It's a novelty item.
That's fine, but it's the principle. Because at that point, you give them an inch, they will take a mile. And more important, the next president can say, guess what? A Republican president was able to remove a bump fire stock with the excuse that makes your rifle shooting faster. Guess what? Our next president maybe can just now write an executive order. We can remove all the magazines, more than 3 rounds. After all, you don't need those for hunting. So that's my point. That's exactly where I feel.
I totally understand what you're thinking here. But like I say again, I'll be honest with you, Luca, I wouldn't get excited about it. I don't see anything happening. I mean, bump stocks are junk anyhow. I've shot with them. I'm sure you have too. They're a waste of ammunition. You can't hit your target. The fallacy that the Las Vegas shooter was using a bump stock, there's no way. You know that. Christ, you've done time on the range. How much time you got on the range? You know that there's no way you can put that many rounds down range without a pile of brass being around your feet. And I've seen the photograph.
No, I understand.
Of the
I
crime
understand.
scene.
And I agree with you. It's still, but the point, as I said, mostly it's not about the bonfire stock. It's about if a president constitutionally has the type of power to write the laws. That's the bottom line. Anyway, let's talk about things that you can get excited. Let's see. First of all, immigration. Now it seems like we go down to potatoes, meat and potatoes. What's going on now with President Trump?
Let's get right down to the nitty-gritty then.
Go ahead. What's going? You have an event. Tell me about the event that's going on with you.
Okay, a week ago. Okay, what I've been doing is I've been preparing for getting geared up and getting ready for the Bundy Ranch 2A Second Amendment rally that we're going to hold at Bunker Hill. Now, you remember Bunker Hill there across the bridge?
Yes.
At Bundy Ranch.
Yes.
And I got a phone call from a friend of mine that told me about this caravan, the DACA caravan down in Mexico, of a bunch of 1,500 or 1,000 or so Hondurans looking to head for America to stake a claim. And at first I thought he was joking. I said, no, let me check this out. And I checked out, and yes, in fact, there are a mass of bozos headed north. So I called my friend, a friend of mine who works at the Border Patrol, who's a Border Patrol agent. He's a supervisor. Mm-hmm. And he said, in fact, it's true. There are a gaggle of assholes heading north. And I said, well, what's your intel? What's going on? He said, well, they're co-intel, and they're supposed to come into Calexico. And, in fact, the point of entry is going to be Tecate, which is on, just 10 miles west of Patriot Point. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, can we be of assistance to Mountain Minutemen? Can we be of assistance? He said, if you guys could set up at Patriot Point, I can utilize my assets in better locations where they can be more effective. So I said, all right. I said, when do you feel that the impact time would be? And he said, we're looking at the weekend of the 14th and the 15th. It'll probably be the hot when the masses will be arriving. So I put out a call to action to the nation, and of course my core element will be there at Patriot Point. Our intent is to set up Patriot Point, set up a line along the border, probably from the 241 monument, maybe over to around the corner and down to the Oak Grove, cover that whole area right there, which would allow the Border Patrol to pull their assets where they could be utilized more efficiently. So my intent is to set up. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just say, by the way, that's the place that you spent years on the borders. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, I spent 3 years. I counted out 3 years there, from 2005 to actually 2006 to 2009. I was there full time, 24/7, 365. I got a newspaper delivered every day by the Border Patrol. No, I'm serious. It was, was very.
I remember that.
The Border Patrol came to me. Yeah. We had an event there, and the Border Patrol came to me and said, "Little dog, if you could take that mountain over there, we'll support you." And what that time frame, the mountain was controlled by the Arellano Felix cartel, and they utilized it for the movement of crystal meth across the border. Mm. And I says, "Done deal." So we mounted up, and we went up on the hill, and we took it.
And this is not a game. I mean, I want to remind people that Border Patrols have been killed. They've been also intimidated in their homes, and these are federal agents. You're just a regular guy there, pretty much in the middle of nowhere. All you had is like a walkie-talkie and some, radio. I don't even know if your cell phone pick it up from there. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And you're pretty much, you're surrounded by people that they're professional killers. That's the truth.
Well, that's exactly right. People in America don't understand, and they don't realize that there's an undeclared war going on the southern border, and there is. And it's been a war zone for decades, going back to the Bush administration and beyond that. The thing is, what we have to do is we have to rally to support Donald Trump. We have to rally to support the wall. We have to really rally to support the United States Border Patrol. We have to let the United States Border Patrol that America is behind them. And when the Border Patrol sees this kind of civilian outpouring, these people that are coming from they're taking time off from their jobs, they're taking vacations or whatever, and they're coming down to stand on a mountaintop in the middle of the most remote, barrenest, unforgiving part of the world and stay. They have total appreciation for that, and that's what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to set up, and we're going to be static patrolling until the National Guard has been dispatched.
Oh, tell me how people can reach you. If somebody wants to join you, how can reach you?
Oh, go to my website, www.mountainminutemen.com. www.mountainminutemen.com. Now, if you can't be there, it would be awesome if you could just hit the donate button, kick down a few bucks for gasoline. We're going to have a gaggle of people coming down there, and a lot of them are, like I said, we're all working on our own dime and time here. We don't have no government, dollars, no paycheck coming at the end of the month for this stuff. We'll do this as volunteers now for a really, really long time.
Yes. Let me say something. I want to say something to people that may say, oh my gosh, you're such an extremist person. Let me explain something, guys. The moment that we have no more borders, that we say this country has no borders, everybody can come in and out just like as they please. We completely are no more a country. That's the reality. And also one thing that really, and like for example, people say, oh, we don't need borders. Guess what? Do you have walls in your home? Why don't you just have an open door and everybody can come in and out and maybe sleep in your bed, and maybe use your bathroom and open their fridge and shut up. Otherwise, you're a racist. That's the hypocrisy of people.
On top of that, look at the amount of narcotics problems we're having in the country.
Oh, at least
the country's the heroin addiction's up over 100%. Since and this is all coming because we don't have a secure border.
But that's my point. I really believe if they want to stop it, that there are different ways to stop the narcotic problem. But that's exactly one of the reasons they are freaking out in Washington. If somebody is going to put a really stop, or at least a control, who gets in and who gets out, because at that point the big market of these drug cartels would be out.
There's so much drug money being filtered into the politicians in this country,
and the banks, they recycle. Don't forget the banks.
Of course. Here's Arizona, perfect example. You got John McCain, right, and you got Jeff Flake, whatever his name is. In my opinion, these guys are nothing but cartel congressmen. Arizona is ground zero for most of the traffic into America of heroin. And they're the ones pushing hardest to keep the borders open. Why do you think that is? I believe it's because they're catching X amount of do-re-mi from the cartel. And I believe that with all my heart. I go along with Paul Balboa on this. It's the corrupt politicians that is making Arizona what it is. It's not about... when you look at the Tono Odom and the amount of heroin that comes across the Tono Odom Indian Reservation onto Interstate 8, and then it's in America. And I've been working the Tono Odom for the past 5 years, Luca.
Yeah.
I know exactly what's going on in there. The Tono Odom Indian Reservation is controlled by the Sinaloa cartel.
Wow. Robert, one thing I want to, sorry to interrupt you. One thing I find very hypocritical to the max, okay? The Mexican government completely freaking out for the fact that finally we want to enforce the controls of our borders. Okay, no wall doesn't matter. We need to. The point is, a sovereign country must control its own borders. Like Mexico, they are very, very. Don't try to cross the borders with southern Mexico, with the states of the southern Mexico, because if you're from Guatemala or any other southern Mexican countries and you cross illegal, you go to jail, you get beaten up,
or get killed.
Exactly. And this is insane. And people sometimes, I feel sorry for the people here.
You brought up the Mexican government. Okay, yeah. Let me make a few points here. These guys down there in Mexico that control that country don't control that country. That cartel controls the country. You got these senators and these mayors and these politicians in Mexico. They can't do anything without a green light from the cartel.
Yes.
They'll die.
Yeah.
So you get a bunch of guys up and screaming to Washington about, well, we're not going to support this and we're not going to do that if you bring troops on the line. Well, that's because they know that the pressure they're catching from their superiors, who are the cartel, are the ones that are pushing them buttons. It's the same problem we're having here in America. The people that are pushing the buttons are the ones that are controlling the industry. They got their finger in the pie. And that's why we're having such a big thing. Okay, Texas has got National Guard coming down. New Mexico's got National Guard. Arizona's got National Guard coming. Now, Jerry Brown, of course, he's saying he's not putting National Guard on the border. Because why? Because he's pushing for a sanctuary state. Now, this coming event, this coming week, could have some very serious political ramifications. Now, I'm not sure which way the wind's going to blow on this, but we're showing up. And we're going to stay there until the National Guard gets there.
One more time, Robert, one more time, the website where people can reach you or send you donation. By the way, I would like to donate if you're okay with that.
Fine, please.
Let's do that. 20 CDs. I give you 20 of my CDs, okay, mix. That I would like that people can completely buy them. You have a website, you can sell CDs, you get the all profit. I'll give you 20 CDs you can put on your site and people can completely support you. Or you can sell them when you see people, 10, 15 bucks, 20 bucks, even 10 bucks. You can make a couple $100. Sure. Would you be okay with that?
Sure, absolutely. I'm with that 100%.
Okay, I'll so that give me, PM me your address and I'll send you this in the mail on Monday, okay?
Excellent. Excellent.
Give your website again. Give your website again, please.
www.mountainminutemen.com. www.mountainminutemen.com. Now, I don't know how many guys are coming. I paid a national call to arms or call to action. I'm changing that. Call to action. Anybody that's volunteering or wants to come in, be aware, and I'm putting this out there straight across, it is California, and they have some very strict gun laws.
Yes.
So make sure if you're coming across the state line and coming to California, you have your ducks in a row. Now, I'm not expecting any kind of adversarial, interaction, but I just want everybody who's volunteering and coming in to realize that California is an anti-2A state.
Yes.
They're anti-Second Amendment. They're anti-anybody that wants to help do anything to support Donald Trump. They're against anybody that wants the wall. They're against anybody that wants to do anything about securing the border. So keep that in mind to the volunteers, the potential volunteers out there in America that are coming. We're going to be there. We're going to be legal as beagles. We understand. We know what we're doing. We've been doing this for a really, really long time.
Robert, I have 5 seconds before I close. I want to say thank you very much. I am really proud to call you my friend. And please, why don't you do that also when you're there and you're assessed and you got pretty much everything at least under control. Let's give me a call. I would like to have some feedback exactly what's going on with the boots on the ground, okay?
Absolutely, absolutely, sir. This is going to be a historical event.
Perfect. And by the way, PM me, I'm going to shut it down and PM me the address where I can put the CDs in the mail, okay?
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you, Lisa. This was thank you. This was
God bless America. God bless Donald Trump, and let's build the wall.
All right.
Secure the border.
All
immediately.
Right. Okay, Robert. Thank you. Okay, this was it for today, guys. You'll be listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna. If you agree with this message, that's fine. If you don't agree, that's fine anyway. And if you disagree, I want you on the show. Seriously, I would love to have somebody on the show that completely has let's say, opposite direction when it comes down to immigration. Please talk with me on the air. After all, I was an immigrant myself. God's willing, I'll talk to you next Sunday. Ciao.